Hello and welcome to the Online Learning Survival Guide for College Students webinar brought to you by UP-JMA in partnership with Thames International. Our speaker for today is Mr. Emmanuel Santos. He is the head of student affairs at Thames International, where they conduct similar talks to help hundreds of schools, administrators, teachers, and students adjust to the new online learning conditions.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. The new situation is actually leading us to new circumstances, new challenges, new benefits. So thus, our past routines before the lockdown, before the ECQ, GCQ, whatever you call that, won't actually work 100% because it's a new environment for all of us. Thus, we actually need to reevaluate and reestablish our new routines and to establish our new habits. So I'll be sharing with you 7 tips. It all starts with your mindset. We're given this new situation, we're facing a lot of different challenges, a lot of new experiences for all of us. So it's good to ask yourselves now, what's going to be your mindset towards remote or online learning? How will you face the new challenges in front of you now? Will you choose to believe that you can actually grow with it, or will you close your mind to it? Will you choose to have a growth mindset wherein you will say, I can manage studying from home and online schooling because it's going to be difficult at first, but I can make certain adjustments? Or will you choose to have a fixed mindset wherein you'll say to yourself, this is hopeless, we can't be productive given this situation? Your decision will greatly affect whatever your next actions will be. So this is very, very crucial and critical because from your mindset, all else will follow. Okay, so for the next tip, it's really to focus on what you can control. We sometimes fall into that trap of trying to control everything around us. We want everyone to make the adjustments, and we would want to make the adjustments for ourselves. We have to remember that we can never control everything because that's an irrational thought. So with us in psychology and in counseling, we have that term, an irrational thought. So an irrational thought, something like I can please everybody, or something like I can control everyone, I can control everything around me. So that's irrational because that's illogical, that's impossible, that's improbable. Usually, irrational thoughts lead to feelings of disappointment. Instead of having that thought, remember that we can never control everything. So not all important things are within our control. At the same time, not all things that are within our control are important, as the 2 circles would show, right? But there's an overlap between them. So we have to find that overlap because that overlap are things that are important and are within our control. So we can focus our time and effort on those things. Once you're able to identify that, you're able to clearly invest your time and energy on things that are important and within your control. Many important things are happening in our life, but don't be surprised. That's life. Okay, so you're now in college. Later on, you'll realize that a lot more things actually are happening. So things that most likely matter to all of us, basically studies right now, then probably next family obligations, then third social life, for some probably love life, and then me time, of course, that's very important. Your hobbies, and then your mental and physical wellness activities. And then now you're doing online or remote learning. So that's on top of your studies. So you have to find your balance in whatever new routine you reestablish in this situation. You find your balance in that new routine. Because if that new routine isn't giving you a balanced life, it will also bring you down sooner than later. We usually don't know which one to do first. We don't know how to fit everything in the limited time we have. To help you identify that, how are you going to fit all of those rocks, pebbles, sand into one empty jar? Rock, pebbles, sand. So it's not enough that we know about it, we have to apply it. So we have to classify our tasks. So the container represents our schedule. So let's say a day or a week. So the key is balance. So we have to prioritize first uncontrollable, the big important tasks, the top priority, the rocks, the most important and urgent tasks. So for example, your synchronous classes. And then you identify the tasks that are of average priority. So they are important but not so urgent. So these may be your asynchronous tasks. So your self-paced worksheets, your self-paced modules. And then lastly, you put in your sand because the sand can be flexible and then go into the empty spaces in between the rocks and the pebbles. Usually the sand are your me time activities, your social life activities. So another additional tip, find out what style of studying works for you. So don't compare yourself with your peers because sometimes your peers may be different in terms of their, for example, some of them might be night owls, some of them might be morning person. So it's up to you also. Find your rhythm. So find your balance. So you plot your tasks weekly. Per day, you also identify, you also have your empty jar per day after you do the per week. Studies, you'll be spending 8 to 12 hours, so basically half day of your time. And then sleep, 6 to 7, hopefully. Don't try to go always below 6 at least. And then for family time, probably 2-3 hours per day. And then usually the last will be the me time. Okay, so make time for quick 10 to 15 minutes physical exercise or even mental exercises as well. So that would be helpful because we lack social interaction. So we really also need to take care of our physical and mental wellness. We need to maximize the technology around us. Technology has been continuously developed basically to help us. So number one tip that I would recommend is really to make use of your online calendar. So you can actually integrate those calendars together or even your personal activities also so that you'll see how your month, your week, and your day will look like. So you can integrate in those calendars already. You can visualize your activities. You can see the due dates of your tasks. You can do color codes per subject if you want. Okay, so you need a space for formal and informal learning areas. Formal areas, for example, if you're doing a live session just like this, you need a formal place where your background will be suitable for interactions and discussions with your lecturers and with your classmates. If you're not living by yourself, so it's also important to coordinate with your parents, for example, especially if they're working from home as well. And then if you have siblings, for day sessions, I highly recommend you do it beside your window so that actually you can get some sunlight also while you're working, and then the light is better. Make sure that you identify also the things that help you become concentrated. For example, if you want to have your own music while you're having your asynchronous classes, and then if you want to design your workplace with certain visual designs at home, then make sure that your temperature is ideal for your need. So not too hot, not too cold as well. And then for food, try not to eat too much junk food also and drinks during this pandemic because it's not helpful for our physical and mental health. Now, what you'll need to do next is to turn your distractions into motivation. It gets distracting because you're not in school, you're not inside the classroom. So instead of just studying, usually we tend to just fall asleep or do a lot of things. We can make use of those distractions. For example, after 1 hour of work, we give ourselves a treat. You make sure that you finish the rocks first and then the pebbles, and then the rest of the time you can use that for yourself. Here's a technique that Navy SEALs, firefighters, athletes have been using. So it's a very effective technique to regain our focus on what we're doing, to relax, to be mindful. So just spend 4 times. You're not going to think about anything. Just count 1, 2, 3, 4 as you inhale, and then hold it for another 4 seconds. And then you exhale for another 4 seconds. Then you hold it for another 4 seconds. So try to relax yourself also, to be mindful of the here and now. So it will help you also in transitioning. Lastly, what's your happy time? Okay, so there will always be positive and negative things around us and in us. Make sure that your happiness level is always higher than the negative things happening around you and within you. The challenge in online learning is the lack of social interaction. So now we really need to take time and effort to reach out to our family members, to our friends, because we really need each other's help. We need to watch our happy time as well as the people around us. Okay, so physical and mental health, they always go together. It can't be taken apart from each other. So we have to take care of both our physical and mental health. you in your orgs also, you can to have an informal get-together, an online get-together, regular get-together where you can play games, you can have performances. And then with our graduating students, we also held our virtual career fair. I highly encourage you to participate actively in your student organizations. It's because it will help you regain your balance also as you find your new route. Try to find time also to bond with your family members. Okay, so it also helps you regain your balance. And then if you don't have those opportunities, then you can try the next slide. So if everything else fails, so try to hack happiness chemicals that will help you regain your physical and mental wellness also. And don't be afraid and don't hesitate to ask for help when you need it. So you know yourself best. So if you think that there's something wrong, do not be afraid to ask for help. Those are the 7 tips. I wish all of you to have a fun and productive college life wherever you may be. And thank you, everyone.